Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I wanted to talk about the impact of breath holds and following Patrick McKeown's Oxygen Advantage program and risk for injury when you exercise. This is an interesting topic. So I'd like to discuss about the importance of really thinking about not overdoing it when you exercise and how it relates, about physical injury and fatigue and how it relates to the amount of exercise that an individual performs and just how much is enough. So you probably know that being a couch potato or having a sedentary lifestyle is bad for you. And that's true. Research has shown that getting 30 minutes a day of exercise actually is linked to living longer by around 3.4 years. So yes, it's true that moderate exercise is good for you and it makes complete sense. But going to the extreme can be bad. In fact, 100 obituaries or indications of death between 2009 to 2011, when analyzed in Sydney by Richard and Catherine Epstein, showed that sports players actually lived 77.4 years on average, which is less than those in the military, business, and politics who lived 84.7, 83.3, and 82.1 years respectively and devoted way less time to their health and fitness. So this shows us how being a sports player or being a marathon runner does not necessarily mean having a longer lifespan. And this is pretty interesting. So it does not really correlate to your health, right? So there is something called too much exercise, and sometimes we call it overtraining, overuse, or even overreaching. Unfortunately, exercise produces oxidative damage and free radicals, so it's important to control the amount of stress that we put on our body. Even breathing causes these free radicals, right? It's just the process of life, the process of metabolism. So just the act of breathing, not even talking about exercise, can generate this oxidative damage and free radicals in our body. And so these free radicals can cause whole sorts of effects. For example, they can increase fatigue and muscle weakness, etc., and take us longer to recover after a workout. A study took actually blood samples 72 hours after 6 runners ran 6 marathons over 6 days. So a marathon a day in the Sahara desert. And they showed that these athletes had an alteration to their antioxidant defenses. So they weren't as able to clear these free radicals because they were just making so much of them, and their antioxidant defense system couldn't keep up with it. Now, a good way to reduce the risk of injury is to increase the BOLT score. And a higher BOLT score with breath holding is actually a great way to supplement regular exercise with. So breath holding increases your carbon dioxide levels and hydrogen concentration, which offsets the effects of lactic acid. So you can actually push harder without getting tired. So this is why it's such a good thing to include with your regular exercise, because you can exercise more with this technique. Repeated breath holds led to reduced oxidative stress, as well as small amounts of oxidative stress can actually be beneficial to strengthen the antioxidant response. Thus, breath holds are a great way to incorporate to a training regimen, especially for those who are training maybe more intensely. I like to do high intensity interval training twice a week, so this is a great way to incorporate into that thing, so you're not making as much of these free radicals. Remember, a little bit is good for you, but too much isn't. Now, Patrick McKeown gives an example of Alan, which was pushing his body way too hard, and it took him a very long time to recover after vigorous, strenuous activity. But that changed after he improved his BOLT score by using nasal breathing and breath holds and not pushing himself to the point where he couldn't maintain the nasal breathing. So nasal breathing allowed him to kind of maintain his exercise intensity, but not pushing it too much to the point he couldn't maintain the nasal breathing. And so by doing this nasal breathing, he improved his BOLT score and was able to recover much faster with a lower risk of injury. There's also actually an example of this in nature with an organism called blind mole rat, which lives in a crowded environment which has low oxygen saturation and high carbon dioxide levels. And its breathing rate are also very low, for example, compared to other organisms. and it can maintain good health and longevity. Like it can live up to 28 years, which is quite substantial. And there's no indications of cancer in this species either. So high CO2 levels can actually protect you against the effects of oxidative stress and cause slower aging. It's pretty cool. In short, breathing via the nose, reducing rate of breathing, and taking smoother and shorter breaths to the point where you feel air hunger, as well as doing breath hold exercises, can increase carbon dioxide levels and can thus improve your VO2 max, the oxygen carrying capacity, and even blood flow, as well as better release of oxygen from red blood cells, because by increasing your carbon dioxide levels, you're actually shifting the Bohr curve, the oxygen saturation curve, to the right, and that actually helps better release of oxygen to the tissues from the red blood cells, as well as it can buffer the effect against lactic acid, etc. But on top of that, doing all of these practices also reduces the risk of injury, or if you already have one, it can restrict the ability of that injury to negatively affect you.